Hello, this is AYMB. Anyway, I'm going to continue with the OPBR guides, and this time, I'm going to do mistakes you're making when playing League. Anyway, with that out of the way, I noticed that over 80% of you guys haven't subscribed yet, so if you're enjoying my content, be sure to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell icon for more future videos. Anyway, on to my intro.
Changing who I am, I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life and I won't look back ever.
So question, in League, what determines a win or loss in every match? Is it A, getting more combos, B, having the newest OP unit, C, your flags at the end of the game, or D, having the best medals, 170 zone support, etc. I'll give you time to come up with an answer. So before I give the correct answer, let's go through each incorrect one, starting with A. Getting more combos is great. Opponents get KO'd and makes it harder for them to fulfill their role. However, the game doesn't use that to determine a win or loss. It gives you points, but not much more than that. For B, having the newest unit that dominates the meta can help you with League. However, it's useless if you don't use them properly, have low character percentage and or support, or you simply don't have good teammates. Either way, like A, the game doesn't care what units you play. Now that leaves me with D. Like with B, while medals, character percentage, and support help immensely for League, the game still doesn't care. It doesn't guarantee your win or loss in any League battle. And so the answer is C. But why? Because the game is about capturing flags and having more flags than your opponent. When the 3-minute timer runs out, what always determines your win and loss in every match is this. Do you have more flags and thus treasure than your opponent? If so, you win. If not, you lose. Remember, a majority of units in this game are pirates, and what do they want? Booty. And how will they get it? By capturing more flags than your opponents. I just need to make sure everyone understands this before I continue, and hopefully that also explains my points for the rest of the video. Keep in mind that I've also made these mistakes, so I'm not going after one person or another over these things, just pointing out that these are mistakes in my opinion, and making sure you rectify them as best you can so you can win more League matches. Now, on to the 10 biggest mistakes I see when playing League. Let's start with 1. Getting the first or second flag as a runner. I see this mistake way too often in my League battles and it costs you the match. Now, I've made a whole short about it and it hasn't been well received. Also, I've had comments on my funny League battle video about how certain runners need to get the first flag for buffs, and while I have agreed with that in the past, I'm not doing so anymore. Getting the middle flag is way more important than any buffs, especially at the beginning of a match. Runners move faster than most other units. Some even have skills letting you move quickly and take the flag before your enemy team. I'll go over the runners I've made exceptions for and explain why it makes no sense. Let's start with Light Zoro. He gets Hell State when you capture flags, which is great. Only you don't really need it at the beginning of the match. Most units can't even make it to your home flag at that point in time, so it's a waste getting first flag or even second just for Hell State. Might as well get to middle, get the flag quickly, and even if a runner or other players on the enemy team are there, you not only have your Hell State, but your team's already got 3 flags. You and your team just need to protect them all for the rest of the game and you're good. Let's move on to Hybrid Kaido. Players get the first flag for cooldown on skill 1, but like with Zoro, you don't need that in the beginning of the match for 2 reasons. 1, most people know that units like Kaido or even Egghead Luffy teleport, and defenders or even attackers of the enemy team will likely be around their home flags at this time. It's better to just wait until after you get middle flag and then teleport. Now, onto Light Shanks. You get Red Hair State, but it only lasts 17 seconds. So which is better? 17 seconds at your home flags with no enemies around, or 17 seconds with 3 flags and your enemies are way closer to you, if not already there. I can't stress enough how easy this makes league matches, even with the buffs certain runners get. It's much easier in the long run to prioritize the middle flag over anything else. Leave the first flag for the defender. The only exception is when you have more than one runner or you have units like Sabo, Uta, or another runner for its skills to get to the flag quickly. And while this point is actually for runners, I do want to point out that there are also some attackers or even defenders who can run to the flag and capture it. Dark Koala, Kobe, and Atlas are capable of rushing to the middle flag and capturing it. So if you don't have any runners, these guys can be used as makeshift runners. On to 2, not fulfilling your role. Runners get flags, defenders defend flags and fill the flag gauges, and attackers will attack. Generally, you want to play your role throughout the game. There are exceptions, but I'll get to that later. Really, the only mistake I see people making is not playing their role. Not checking your minimap. Units like Soba Mask and Lucci can capture flags while invisible, but you can see them on the minimap. Any teleporting units like Green Bull, Egghead Luffy, and Hybrid Kaido can be easily tracked with the minimap. Keep in mind though, Leo can't be shown since he's so small, so you will have to switch focus from the map to the actual game. Not taking advantage of certain maps. Some maps are great for backcapping, so take advantage of it. Rogue Town, for example, is great for this because of its layout. Both Dressrosa stages are small but make it easy to navigate to an unprotected flag and steal it. Alabasta Day and Marineford have a wide open space for backcapping, but also getting away from enemies when needed. For maps like Sabaody Day and Evening and Drum Island, it takes a while to get to certain flags, so keep that in mind. It's best for at least one teammate to stay in the relative area of your flag. For example, on Drum Island, have at least one person stay between your first and second flags, just in case for any backcappers. Also, keep in mind that some units' attacks can go through walls, like Green Roger. Believe me, that shit is annoying. Be a PvP Roger, or Zoro, or Shanks. Dark Roger, Light Zoro, and Light Shanks are runners. They should be getting flags and fighting when necessary. Even with Lucci, who does switch to attacker, know when to attack and know when to go capturing flags. Here are some more specific tips that I can give you. I see this so many times when it comes to Gear 5, and while I don't have Gear 5, I might as well just mention it here. If you're Gear 5, fulfill whatever role your team needs. If your team doesn't have runners, be a runner. Too often I see people playing Gear 5 and play defense even when they have 2 defenders and no runners. Like, what the fuck? What's the point in playing the only unit that can use all the classes and don't play the class your allies need most? If you still play Whitebeard, remember that while you can't get certain units off the flag, you can still put up your walls to prevent runners from even touching your flag. Here's a tip for handling Sabo. When he's capturing the flag, do not attack him. He can trigger his counter quickly and end up getting the flag anyway. Your best strategy is to either wait 2 to 3 seconds before attacking, or wait until he just captures the flag and then attack. Another tip, but for handling Blueno, attack him outside of the flag. Attacking him inside just heals him, and it wastes time. Anyway, some bonus tips for handling Garp. While you can paralyze him and maybe even freeze him, it doesn't last very long, but I'd say some old school jumping would be in order if you need to take care of any pesky Garps. Other than that though, run away. If he gets you, he gets you. Just let it happen. But if you can't run away, just run away. I'm not being a coward. Sometimes you just gotta run. Remember Sabaody. That's all I'm gonna say. Remember Sabaody. Not paying attention to emotes. Don't be afraid to use them if needed, and if someone's saying get treasure, go get treasure, especially as a runner. If someone's saying defend treasure or watch your 6, protect your flags, especially if you're a defender. If someone's saying help, then help them. not jumping the enemy team. I've been a defender jumped by the enemy team and had our flag taken, and I've been on the team where we jumped the defender and got the last flag we needed to win. I know it's dirty, but hey, old style JJK jumping is the way to go sometimes, especially against Garp. This next one will be controversial, but hear me out. Remember when I said you had to fulfill your role? Well, there are certain times when you need to go outside of your role and make sure your team gets the win. For example, as a runner you capture flags, but what do you do when all 5 flags are captured? Simple, you fight and defend. I mean, what's the point of you getting those flags if the enemy team just steals them? You don't want to rely on defenders to defend flags. Yes, that's their job, but League is a team effort. If you have 3 or more flags, 1 or even 2 defenders can't defend them all at once. Same thing with capturing flags. You don't have to go out of your way to do this, but if you notice an enemy stealing your flag, stop them. If you notice an unprotected flag, capture it until a runner comes by. Do something. Anything. Remember that all units in the game can attack, defend, and capture flags for a reason. I'll repeat this. All units in the game can attack, defend, and capture flags for a reason. Using unplayable units. Sometimes you get unlucky and encounter an ally with a 2-star, 3-star, or even a 4-star you only really use for support. So for example, 2-star Morgan, 2-star Charlos, or even a 4-star Luffy Toro. Granted, these units are pretty fun to play, but they're better off being used for rooms, or just playing with your friends. And if you're a hardcore achievement hunter and that's why you're playing the unit, then just let your friends know and let them carry you. Other than that, don't go in a random match with the unplayable unit. On the opposite spectrum, overly relying on EXs and meta units is also a mistake I see in League Battle. Yes, this is my last point. A lot of players tend to overlook some good bounty fests and step-ups. For example, Leo and Saya are some pretty good bounty fests. Granted, Saya is a little bit harder to play, but Leo, his route is amazing. It stops runners from capturing flags, and he's pretty good at attacking and defending his flag too. Plus you can't even see him on the minimap. While you don't want to play unplayable units, there are still units that are very usable in League Battle. Just because a unit has a few units that counter it doesn't make them unusable. I'll say it again using Halloween Uta as an example because I've gotten this a lot from Halloween Uta and people bitching about when I play her, but just because Halloween Uta can get jumped by a Kuzan or a Jabra doesn't mean she's unusable in League. Even a Dark Roger, even when he came out, already had plenty of units that could counter him. So yeah, I'm not going with this bullshit argument that because some units have counters, they can't be used in League anymore. It's a bullshit argument in my opinion. Let's not do that. Honestly, I kind of think it caters into the meta, to the EX loving meta. You could argue that at the end of the day, the game makes it so that EXs and units like this are overly powerful, and if you have these units, you'll always win League, but really, I think it's also about the mindset of the players too, just believing these EXs are the end all be all, and overlooking the bounty fests. But hey, that's just my opinion. I'll just throw in a bonus mistake I've seen people play, and it's expecting a carry. There are some very strong players, but not everyone has 170 support or multiple units at 600. No one should be expected to carry a team. Work with what you have and do your best to fulfill your role and support your teammates. At the end of the day, OPBR is just a game. We should all have fun, but it gets frustrating and even stressful when teammates don't do their jobs, or expect one player to do everything. Let's have fun, but let's actually play the game the way it was intended, capturing more flags than the opponent. Anyway, that's all I have for the video, so make sure to like the video, subscribe, and click on notifications for any of my future guides. Anyway, see you later!
Jana!